They never ask for much, just your time, just your energy, just your belief in them when nobody else will give it. They come to you broken, and you feel honored that they chose you. You feel chosen, you feel necessary. And that feeling, that warmth of being someone's anchor, it blinds you completely. You do not see what is being taken. You only feel what is being given. The closeness, the confessions, the late nights where they told you things they've never told anyone. You thought that was love. You thought that was friendship. You thought that was real. And then the day came. The day you needed them. The day the roles reversed and your hands were the ones reaching out. And they were gone. Not dramatically, not with a door slam or a final speech. They simply disappeared into their own story. A story where they were still the one who suffered most. You were not in it. You were never in it. The worst part is not the betrayal. The worst part is what you do after. You defend them. You explain them to other people. You say they are complicated. They have been through a lot. They do not mean it. You carry their reputation like it is yours to protect. And somewhere deep in your chest, you know you have been feeding something that was never hungry for what you gave it. You were giving loyalty to something that only consumes. You were pouring water into a vessel with no bottom. And you kept pouring. Because you were taught that pouring is what good people do. Machiavelli was never taught that. 500 years ago, in the corridors of Florentine power, where alliances shifted like sand and the wrong trust could cost a man his life, Niccolo Machiavelli made a study, not of heroes, not of saints, of people, as they actually are, not as they claim to be, not as they present themselves over dinner and in moments of performance, as they function when their survival is at stake and your usefulness to them runs out. His conclusion was not comfortable. He wrote that the nature of men is variable, that they are quick to profess devotion in calm weather and equally quick to abandon it the moment the storm arrives. He did not write this to be cynical. He wrote it because he had watched it, again and again and again. Across courts, across friendships, across the kind of intimate betrayals that leave no visible wound but hollow a person from the inside. He wrote it so that you would not have to learn it the way he did. The problem is not that dangerous people are rare. The problem is that the most dangerous ones are invisible. They do not look like threats. They look like burdens. They look like projects. They look like people who simply need a little more from you than most. And that is precisely the disguise. If you are operating on the assumption that loyalty is proven through need, that the more someone needs you, the more they are bound to you, you are walking directly into the oldest trap in human dynamics. You are confusing dependence for devotion. You are confusing your own generosity for their love. Machiavelli warned, it is the nature of men to be bound by the benefits they confer as much as by those they receive. Meaning, the person who always takes from you begins to resent you for seeing them in that position. The debt does not create loyalty. It creates resentment. And resentment, left long enough, becomes betrayal. There are 3 specific behaviors, 3 patterns that signal a person who is structurally incapable of genuine loyalty. These are not the obvious ones, not the liar you can catch, not the enemy who declares themselves. These are the ones still sitting at your table, the ones you are still defending. We are going to see them clearly for the first time. By the time this is over, you will not need to wonder anymore. You will look at the people around you and you will know, not feel, know. Because you will be reading behavior instead of listening to words. You will stop being moved by what people say about themselves and start being moved only by what they consistently do when the cost of loyalty becomes real. That shift changes everything. You stop chasing, you stop convincing, you stop rehearsing difficult conversations in the shower at midnight. You stop being the most invested person in every relationship you are in. And the people who remain, after you apply what you are about to learn, those people are real. Everything else was theater. Before the 3 signs, you need to understand the mechanism. Why do intelligent people miss these patterns? Why do people who have been burned once, twice, many times, still walk into the same fire wearing different clothes? There is a flaw built into how you assess people. It is called compassion capture. And it is not a weakness. It is actually an exploitation of your greatest strength. Here's how it works. You are empathetic. When someone shows you pain, something in you responds. It wants to help. It wants to be fixed. It wants to be the thing that makes the suffering smaller. This is not naivety. This is not stupidity. This is what makes you someone worth knowing. But certain people have learned, consciously or not, that your empathy is an open door, that if they arrive correctly, presenting the right kind of suffering in the right kind of way, you will let them in completely. You will lower every wall you spent years building. You will give access to a person you have known for 3 weeks that you would not give to your oldest friend. And once you are in that state, you stop evaluating, you start rescuing. Machiavelli said, "A prince who is too compassionate generates disorder, not because compassion is wrong, because unearned compassion handed to the wrong person is not kindness. It is a transaction disguised as kindness, and you are the only one who does not know the terms. Trust is not a feeling, it is a record. Behavior over time, under pressure, when it costs something. Everything else is an audition." Traitor sign number 1, the eternal victim. This is the most counterintuitive sign on this list, because our instinct is that the person who has suffered most deserves the most grace. The person with the hardest story, the worst past, the deepest wounds. Surely they are the ones we should stand closest to. Machiavelli would tell you to look again. Pay very close attention to how someone tells their stories. Every story has characters. In the eternal victim stories, there is always one consistent pattern. They are always the one who was wronged. Every relationship that ended, the other person's fault. Every opportunity lost, someone else sabotaged it. Every fight, every failure, every rupture in their life has an external cause, an external villain, and a central suffering hero. That hero is always them. At first this sounds like trauma, and sometimes it is. But there is a critical distinction between someone who has been hurt and is healing, and someone who has built their entire identity around being hurt. The healing person, over time, begins to locate their own role in things. They develop complexity. They say, "I also did this wrong. I also made a choice I regret." The eternal victim never arrives at that sentence. That sentence is existentially threatening to them because it would dismantle the story their entire self is built on. Now, watch what happens when you are in their life. When a conflict arises between you and them, there is no version of events where they are wrong. None. They will revisit history. They will remind you of every sacrifice they made. They will find the angle from which their behavior was actually the reasonable response to your unreasonable behavior. And they will do it so fluently, so emotionally, with such apparent pain, that you will end the conversation apologizing for something they did. That is not accidental. That is a survival mechanism so deeply embedded they may not know they are running it. But it does not matter whether they know. What matters is that you are always the one who pays. The person who can never be wrong cannot be loyal to you. Because the day comes, and it always comes, when loyalty to you would require them to admit fault. And that is the one thing they structurally cannot do. As Machiavelli wrote, "Men sooner forget the death of their father than the loss of their reputation." The eternal victim has fused their identity to their victimhood. Threatening that identity is more dangerous to them than losing you, so they will lose you, strategically, while making it look like your fault. Traitor sign number 2, the public creditor. This one you have definitely experienced. You know this person, they give loudly, they help loudly, they sacrifice loudly. When they do something for you, there is always a witness, or there is always a later moment where it is referenced. Casually, almost. Just a gentle reminder that they were there, they gave, they showed up. What they are doing is building a ledger. Genuine generosity is invisible, not because generous people are modest, some are not, but because genuine generosity is not about the recipient. It is about the act. The person who needs you to see their generosity is not giving to you. They are investing in you, and like all investors, they expect a return. The return is control. Machiavelli understood this clearly. He wrote that men who do favors out of fear of necessity are fundamentally different from those who do favors freely. The generous act performed for an audience is a necessity of a different kind, a necessity of ego, of status, of debt collection at a future date not yet named. Watch what happens when you stop performing gratitude, when you receive their generosity neutrally, when you say thank you and move on without the display of appreciation they expect. Watch the temperature shift. Watch the subtle withdrawal of warmth. Watch how quickly "I was only trying to help" becomes a weapon pointed at your ingratitude. That is not generosity with a sour reaction. That is debt collection being refused. The clearest signal is this. How do they speak about people they have helped in the past? The genuinely generous person does not inventory their sacrifices for others. The public creditor does. They will tell you what they did for their ex-best friend, what they gave to a former colleague, what they sacrificed for a sibling in a tone that carries unspoken contempt. Because those people stop performing sufficient gratitude, you are next. And here is the piece that destroys most people before they see it coming. The public creditor selects targets carefully. They give the most to the people who seem most likely to feel indebted, the people with good hearts, the empathetic ones, the ones who feel guilty when they cannot reciprocate. They are not randomly generous. They are strategically generous. And their generosity toward you is a measurement of how useful they believe you are. The day your usefulness ends, the generosity ends with it. Traitor sign number 3, the memory architect. This is the darkest one. Save this in the deepest part of your awareness, because this person is the most dangerous of all 3 and the hardest to see until the damage is complete. You are in a conversation. You are referencing something that was said, something that was agreed to, something that was promised. And they look at you with complete composure and say, "That is not what happened," or "I never said that," or, most devastatingly, you are remembering it wrong, and for a moment, just a moment, you doubt yourself. That moment is the entire game. In psychology, this is called narrative control. It is the systematic alteration of shared history to serve a present agenda. The memory architect does not lie in the way most people lie. They do not fabricate events from nothing. They do something more sophisticated. They shift emphasis. They remove context. They reframe the tone. They take a conversation that has a clear meaning and they sand it down until it means something else entirely. And they do it with such calm certainty that your own memory starts to feel unreliable. You begin to wonder if you are the problem. Machiavelli wrote that the lion cannot defend itself from traps. It is the fox that sees them. The memory architect is the fox. They never fight you directly. They have no need to. They simply rearrange the terrain until you are fighting yourself. Watch for these precise signals. First, they almost never put important agreements in writing. Vagueness is their medium. Second, when you quote them directly, they say you are taking them out of context. But the context they offer always, without exception, makes them look better and you look worse. Third, when witnesses contradict their version of events, the witness becomes the problem. Is suddenly unreliable, biased, mistaken. Over time, if you stay close to a memory architect, you will notice something frightening happening to you. You will start to pre-qualify your own memories before sharing them. You will add "I think" and "I could be wrong" and "maybe I am misremembering" to statements you are completely certain about. This is not you becoming more humble. This is you being trained to doubt yourself in exactly the proportion they need you to in order to control the narrative of your shared reality. This is why this person is the most dangerous on this list. The first 2 take from you materially, your energy, your time, your resources. The memory architect takes something that cannot be returned. They take your trust in your own perception. And a person who does not trust their own perception cannot protect themselves from anything. 3 signs, 3 specific patterns. And you are sitting with this right now, running faces through your mind. You are not imagining it. Here is why you missed it. There is a psychological mechanism called the sunk cost of affection. The more you have invested in a person, time, secrets, vulnerability, loyalty, the more evidence you need before you are willing to conclude the investment was wrong. Not because you are stupid, because your brain is protecting the version of yourself that made the original choice. Admitting the person is what they are would mean admitting you allowed it, and the human mind will go to extraordinary lengths to avoid that admission. This is why these 3 people are still in your life right now. Not because you cannot see the signs. You have seen them. You have felt them. You have had conversations with yourself at 2 a.m. about whether this person is good for you. You already know. The question was never knowledge. The question was permission. Consider this your permission, but suspicion alone is not a strategy. Machiavelli was not a man of suspicion. He was a man of evidence. He believed in testing the architecture of a relationship before committing to it the way an architect tests a foundation before building on it. You need to test, cleanly, without confrontation, without announcing what you were doing, just pressure applied at the right point. When structure is weak, pressure reveals it. every time. For the eternal victim, the test is simple. The next time a conflict arises between you, any conflict, big or small, do not over-explain your position. Do not apologize preemptively. Do not soften the truth to manage their reaction. Instead, calmly name what happened, factually, without emotion. Then be silent. What you are waiting for is this. Any version of, "I also played a role in this." It does not have to be a full confession. It does not have to be dramatic. Just one sentence that contains genuine acknowledgement of their own part, even partial acknowledgement. If it never comes, if every response roots back to your fault, your sensitivity, your misunderstanding, you have your answer. The person sitting across from you does not have the capacity for the most basic requirement of any real relationship, shared accountability. Give them one real conversation where the truth is spoken without padding. Watch where they place the blame. That placement tells you everything about where they will place it the day something truly important is on the line. For the public creditor, the test is withdrawal. Stop performing gratitude, not rudeness, withdrawal. When they do something for you, acknowledge it briefly and move on. Do not elaborate. Do not reciprocate immediately with an equal or larger gesture. Do not reference it again. Then watch the timeline. A genuinely generous person will not notice, because they were not tracking. A public creditor will begin to show micro-signals within days, a shift in energy, a slight coolness, a reference, however indirect, to what they gave. You are not loved for who you are to people who do this. You are loved for the return you represent. The moment the return looks uncertain, the love becomes uncertain with it. Also watch how they speak about people who are no longer useful to them. Listen for the inventory. Every name that comes with a list of what was given and never returned is a name that will one day be yours. For the memory architect, the test is documentation. Start confirming conversations in writing, not formally, naturally. After a discussion where something was agreed, send a short message, just to confirm we said this. Or summarize the key point in a reply. Nothing invasive, just a paper trail that you frame as organization, not suspicion. Watch the reaction. A person with nothing to rewrite will not care. They will confirm and move on. The memory architect will feel the ground shifting under them. They may push back on your summary. They may say you have the tone wrong, the context wrong, the emphasis wrong. They will edit your documentation. And in those edits you will see, for the first time in full clarity, exactly how they prefer the story to be told. That preference is their agenda. Now you have seen it, in writing, before it could be applied to something that matters more. You have run the tests. The results came back. Now you are tempted to confront, to expose, to deliver the speech you have been writing in your head. Do not. Confronting these three types is the amateur move. And here is why it never works. The eternal victim will make you the villain of a new story. The public creditor will inventory every sacrifice they ever made for you and present the bill in public. The memory architect will calmly dismantle your confrontation by rewriting the evidence you came armed with. You cannot win in their arena. Their arena is language, emotion, and narrative, and they have been practicing longer than you have. The master does not announce the exit. The master simply becomes unavailable, incrementally. Without drama, you are busy, you are focused, you respond slower, you volunteer less. You stop being the person who initiates. You let the relationship find its own natural weight, which, without your effort holding it up, will reveal itself as weightless. They will find new people to perform for, new ears for the old stories, new audiences for the generosity, new targets for the memory revision. Let them. You are not responsible for dismantling what they have built. You are only responsible for removing yourself from it. Understand what you are doing when you remove these people. You are not becoming cold. You are not becoming hard. You are becoming precise. Every unit of energy you have been spending on the eternal victim, the public creditor, and the memory architect, that energy belongs somewhere else. It belongs to the people in your life who have shown up without an audience, who has told you difficult truths, who have taken their share of accountability in hard moments without being forced to, who has given to you in the dark when no one was watching and there was nothing to gain. Those people exist. They are likely already in your life, sitting quietly in the background, while the louder ones consume your attention. Machiavelli wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But he also wrote that the greatest fortress a prince can have is to not be hated by his people. Your inner circle is your fortress. Fill it with people who do not need to be managed, manipulated into accountability, or watched for rewrites. A small table with honest people is not a consolation prize. It is the whole point. This is not a call to see enemies everywhere. If you walk away from this, looking at every person in your life through the lens of which category they belong to, you have misunderstood everything said here. That is not perception. That is fear wearing the mask of wisdom. And Machiavelli had no respect for fear dressed up as strategy. The goal is not suspicion, the goal is clarity. There is an enormous difference. Suspicion poisons relationships that deserve trust. Clarity simply means you are reading behavior instead of being seduced by performance. The three people described here are not villains in some movies. They are often people who are genuinely suffering, genuinely limited, genuinely unaware of the mechanisms they run. Your job is not to punish them. Your job is not to diagnose them in a difficult conversation where you explain what they are. Your job is simply to stop funding what they are with your best energy. You can hold compassion for someone and still choose not to be close to them. That is not a contradiction. That is an adult relationship with your own limits. Think about the last 3 months. Think about where the weight of your relational energy went. Who are you thinking about most? Who are you worrying about? Who are you explaining, defending, managing, rehearsing conversations for? Now, ask, did they think about you with the same intensity? Did they carry the weight of your well-being the way you carried theirs? If the answer is no, that imbalance is not a character flaw in you. It is information. It is the behavior of the relationship telling you its actual architecture, not the architecture of the words spoken, the gestures made, the affection performed. The actual structure of where effort flows and where it stops. Stop trying to make uneven things even. The energy you are spending trying to balance an unbalanceable relationship is the same energy that could be building something real. Stop watering the ground that refuses to grow. Now. Before you close this and go looking for these patterns in everyone else, there is one final check, the most important one. The one most people skip because it is the most uncomfortable. Look directly at yourself. Are you the eternal victim? Do your stories always end with you as the one who was wronged? When was the last time you told someone a story about a conflict and genuinely, without qualification, said you were the one who got it wrong? Not performatively, not as a setup for why you were actually right, actually wrong? Are you the public creditor? When you give to the people in your life, are you keeping a quiet record? When someone does not respond to your generosity the way you expected, do you feel something tighten? Do you have people in your past whose names you carry with an inventory attached? Are you the memory architect? When you replay difficult conversations, does your version always center you in the most reasonable light? When someone else remembers a moment differently, is your first instinct always that they are wrong? These are not accusations. They are the hardest questions a person can ask themselves. And Machiavelli's blade cuts in every direction. He wrote, "It is double pleasure to deceive the deceiver. Do not deceive yourself while learning to see the deception of others." If you found yourself in any of those three, that is not a reason for shame. It is a reason for the most valuable kind of work. The work you do on yourself before you demand different behavior from anyone else. Clean your own architecture, then build. The world does not punish the naive immediately. It waits. It lets them believe, for years sometimes, that things will improve, that people will change, that loyalty will eventually be returned in proportion to what was given. Then it collects. The world does not reward the paranoid at all. The person who trusts no one builds a fortress they cannot leave. Their safety becomes their cage. The world rewards the perceptive, the person who can sit across from someone, listen to their words with genuine openness, and simultaneously read the unspoken behavior with cold accuracy. That is not cynicism. That is the complete skill set. Heart open, eyes clear. Be the person who cannot be taken by surprise. Not because you expect the worst, but because you have done the work of seeing people as they are, rather than as you need them to be. Walk quietly. Watch what is done, never only what is said. Give your trust like a resource that cannot be replaced, because it cannot. And when you find the rare person who earns it, who shows up without performance, who holds accountability without being cornered into it, who gives in the dark with no ledger and no audience. Hold that person like the rarity they are, because they are. What you just received is the surface. There are layers to human behavior that cannot be covered in a single video. Patterns of power, patterns of influence, patterns of how trust is built and dismantled, that go deeper than anything a public platform will allow without consequence. The algorithm does not reward the most useful information. It rewards the most comfortable. What I keep behind the join button is neither comfortable nor surface level. If you have watched to this point, you already know you are not watching this for entertainment. You are watching it because something in you is done operating blind, done being the most invested person in rooms that do not deserve your investment. Most people will subscribe, nod, and go back to the same patterns tomorrow. That is not a judgment. That is just the nature of how most people interact with the ideas that could change them. They consume them and move on. The ones who join are not most people.